The Gillette ad is bad, really bad. But why? We'll take a look at some reasons. We'll also look at Trump's latest smackdown of Nancy Pelosi's State of the Union disinvitation. Plus, Frosty the Snowman delivers some instant karma. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
God bless the United States of America.
All right, Trump's making news. He did something that I've never seen in 25 years of politics since I've been following it. We're going to get to that. But first, we're going to start off with Gillette. You know, that paragon of virtue, that beacon of all that is pure and holy in the world. Yes, Gillette. And I want to thank Edwin Schwimmel over there at raceimages.nl for the use of his Gillette pictures. They're great, and you should check out his website. There really is an art to taking photos at races of cars, of people, and he does a great job. So that's raceimages.nl. Check that out. But the Gillette ad has really bothered me. I talked about it on the last show, but I really wanted to get into the reasons why that it triggered such a bad reaction with people. And it's not just because it takes this left-wing stance that rubs people the wrong way, but it's genuinely a bad commercial. And I had the pleasure of chatting yesterday with Dr. Charles Taylor over at Villanova University. He writes for Forbes, and he put together a column. We went over some of the reasons, and his column sums it up. Here's a picture of Charles Taylor, and as you can see, he's the John A. Murphy Professor of Marketing at Villanova University of Business and Senior Research Fellow at the Center for Marketing and Consumer Insights. And in his Forbes article, here's what he writes. Here's a portion of it. Reaction has been overwhelmingly negative, with comments on its own YouTube channel running negative by an astonishing 10-to-1 margin. There are those who really like the ad and argue that it's simply trying to reinforce positive behavior. However, the much larger group who dislikes it include many men who are saying the ad is insulting to men and full of stereotypes. What is perhaps most dangerous for Gillette, however, is a large number of posters who are threatening to never buy their product again. Now, in his paper and in our discussions, he points out a number of reasons why the Gillette ad fails. And in his paper, he points out three, and I'd like to go over those. Here's reason number one. While corporate social responsibility appeals can be effective, corporations must be sensitive to the potential of consumers being skeptical of their motives and not wanting to be told how to behave by a profit-motivated company. All right, this is known as the persuasion knowledge model, and that is, we know companies, when they're doing ads, they want to persuade you to do something, to buy their product, or in this case, to volunteer for a cause or to change a behavior, do something like that. They're trying to persuade you. So what Dr. Taylor is talking about is there's this built-in skepticism where a company is telling you to do the right thing, but you also know that they're a company. They're designed to make money. That's their motive. So if you're skeptical about that going in, the ad needs to be even more careful about what it's trying to get you to do. And this is where this ad fails, because what it's trying to get you to do are behaviors that most men do anyway. And they resent being told to do something with the assumption that they're not doing it when most men are good guys. So that's reason number one. Reason number two goes like this. The creative and the best a man can be could be more effective if delivered differently. So in this case, Taylor mentioned something about consumer behavior theory. And one of the things is that people want to fit in. They want to fit in with a group. And that is, they want to do things that are approved or don't do things that bring disapproval. And so this is where the ad really falls flat, because it's trying to get people to do things when the vast majority of men already do them. They already act like good guys. They already treat women with respect. They don't condone bullying in any way. So that's the majority. And most of the times, if you're talking about good people and bad people, the minority are the ones that are bad. So by being good, you're in the majority. Well, this commercial paints the majority as those who are doing bad things. So if you're seeking approval and wanting to be in the majority, this commercial is all messed up, because they paint the majority as the bad guys when the majority is good, and it just fails to make that connection that, oh, I'm a good guy, I want to be with the majority, but you're saying that people are bad in general. So it really, really fails there. And of course, he goes into reason number 3, which is the most obvious, and this is what triggered everybody, is politically charged language should be avoided by advertisers. I mean, come on, that is common sense. If you're selling razors, just stay away from political advertisements. This is why ESPN is getting such headaches these days, and people are unsubscribing, canceling the channel, because they're diving more and more into politics when people just want sports. So with all of that analysis, though, from a very esteemed PhD marketer, my daughter, in a discussion the other day, kind of really hit the nail on the head. And that is that in this, woke age, Gillette's trying to appeal to these millennial hipsters. Well, let's just take a look. I mean, here's hipster number 1. Here's another, and another, and another. So you got all these guys, these millennials with these either full or these cheesy hipster beards, and Gillette makes a commercial saying, buy our product. So they're appealing to these guys that don't shave while alienating older people, conservatives who do. So their whole marketing is just absolutely ridiculous. And it just goes to show that when you're driven by a philosophy to reach a fringe group or fit in with left-leaning philosophy or ideology, you're going to fall short. You cannot alienate your consumer base in order to make a political point. That is just a rule that should never be broken by these corporations. So that seemed kind of obvious. But now we want to move over to Trump, who did something that wasn't obvious at all, but is gaining a lot of reaction. And I'm stunned, and I don't really know how to react to it. All right, so let's set the stage. First, we have to go back in time just a little bit with Nancy Pelosi, who sent a letter over to the president, basically disinviting him to the State of the Union address. And here's what she had to say in her letter. It said, in September 2018, Secretary Nielsen designated the State of the Union addresses as national special security events, recognizing the need for full resources of the federal government to be brought to bear to ensure the security of these events. The extraordinary demands presented by these events require weeks of detailed planning, with dozens of agencies working together to prepare for the safety of all participants. The U.S. Secret Service was designated as the lead federal agency responsible for coordinating, planning, exercising, and implementing security for the national special security events by this public law. However, both the U.S. Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security have not been funded for 26 days now, with critical departments hamstrung by furloughs. So Pelosi went on to add in her letter, this was the main point, sadly, given the security concerns, and unless government reopens this week, I suggest that we work together to determine another suitable date after government has reopened for this address for you to consider delivering a State of the Union address in writing to Congress on January 29th. So she's basically saying, don't come. We don't want to hear from you. I mean, the thing Democrats fear the most is Trump out there on center stage speaking directly to the American people without the media filter. So people were reacting to that. Well, what does Trump do? Yesterday, he just brings down the hammer. He sent a letter over to Pelosi, and here's what he had to say. He said, due to the shutdown, I am sorry to inform you that your trip to Brussels, Egypt, and Afghanistan has been proposed. We'll reschedule this 7-day excursion when the shutdown is over. In light of the 800,000 great American workers not receiving pay, I'm sure you would agree that postponing this public relations event is totally appropriate. I also feel that during this period, it would be better if you were in Washington negotiating with me and joining the strong border security movement to end the shutdown. Obviously, if you would like to make your journey by flying commercial, that would certainly be your prerogative. So Trump, I mean, he just stunned everybody, and he went on. Here's his closing. He says, I look forward to seeing you soon, and even more forward to watching our open and dangerous southern border finally receive the attention, funding, and security it so desperately deserves. I mean, I don't even know what to think about this. And People were just stunned. Here's a clip from Fox News. Shepard Smith, who's not a Trump supporter, they're just in disbelief on what's going on. Take a look at this.
There it is. That's the one that was supposed to take the CODEL, new to me too. CODEL, congressional delegation. People who work there know these things. I don't. But the CODEL is not on the bus there. Peter Ducey's walking apparently toward the Capitol and maybe the bus. What's the sitch there, Peter?
Well, and Shep, this group of lawmakers, only Democrats that we know of, thought that they were going to be taking a ride at about 2:30 today, 30 minutes, to Joint Base Andrews to go overseas to places like Afghanistan and Egypt for up to 7 days. A lot of them, it sounds like, were based on accounts that we've been able to cobble together, were sitting on the bus when they found out that their trip was going to be postponed. And ever since, very few of them have gotten off the bus, which is why we're walking across. They've just been driving circles around the Capitol complex.
So the bus is circling. They were on their way to the plane, getting ready for the trip, when Trump brings down the hammer on these guys. And it shows you why the left and the Democrats absolutely hate Trump. Now, Lindsey Graham took to Twitter, and here's what he had to say. He says, one sophomoric response does not deserve another. Speaker Pelosi's threat to cancel the State of the Union is very irresponsible and blatantly political. President Trump denying Speaker Pelosi military travel to visit our troops in Afghanistan, our allies in Egypt, and NATO is also inappropriate. So what do you think? Did Lindsey say the right things? Is he right on this? Was it an inappropriate measure? I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. I mean, yes, I'm sure it's kind of elementary school. She does this, so boom, I'm going to do this. But it shows you why Trump was elected and why the media and the Democrats can't stand him. He does his own thing, and he wants this border wall, and he's going to do everything in his power to do it. And he has the Republicans on board. And when he does things like this, it's no wonder that the American people love him, because he's sticking up for what he believes. And more power to him. Yeah, I think it was kind of childish, but I mean, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And finally, I just want to close with this. We have a Frosty the Snowman incident that happened in Kentucky. We have this guy, Cody Lutz, and he built a snowman with his fiance. And you can take a picture, look at it here. And it's awesome, right? Well, so some guy decides that it's not so awesome. He wants to run it over. He wants to plow it over with his car or his truck or whatever. And here you see the aftermath. You see the truck tires, but you don't see the damage to the car. Turns out Cody and his fiance built this snowman around a huge tree stump. So talk about instant karma. I wish they would find this car or this truck and show what it looks like after trying to take down Frosty the Snowman. So the moral for this week, the moral for this show is you don't mess with Frosty the Snowman and you don't mess with President Trump. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.